Hey everybody, it's Glenn, back in this video as my reviews of the Marvel Legends Infinite Series Hobgoblin Build-A-Figure Collection roll on with Daredevil. And on the packaging back there is the Hobgoblin Bath, with Daredevil coming with Hobgoblin's left arm. Other figures in this series that you'll need to collect to complete Hobgoblin are Spider-Man, Anti-Venom, Spider-Man 2099, Mayday Parker Spider-Girl, and Ultimate Spider-Woman. His blurb reads, "Without sight but also without fear, when Daredevil senses evil, there's nowhere to hide." And here was me thinking playing hide and seek with a blind man would be easy. I have heard Daredevil's inclusion in a Spider-Man line being questioned, yet the two heroes are often allies and share a foe in the Kingpin. And while it seems the umbrella of, say, Spider-Man or Avengers in separate series have seemingly led to a renaissance in Marvel Legends, I don't mind the lines being blurred when it comes to character selection like Legends of old, representing all corners of the Marvel Universe. And it seems Hasbro themselves acknowledged Daredevil was a standalone hero here, as with every other figure in this series they're under the banner of the Spider-Man title, yet Daredevil has a broader Marvel one. Here he is out of packaging. For me, the struggle I have with Daredevil is that when Frank Miller essentially reinvented Daredevil in the 80s with a darker characterization, I always felt like the darker tone of the character conflicted with the bright red of the costume from the 60s and 70s. A couple of efforts have been made over the years to give Daredevil a black costume, more visually in keeping with Miller's redefinition of the character, but I often find in comics it's often easier for creators to change the personality of a character than it is their look. A good example of that is when Cyclops, perhaps the greatest student of mutant coexistence, killed Professor X, the teacher of that very philosophy. It rocked the boat, but when the shape of Cyclops' visor changed, that boat hit an iceberg and reaction was titanic in proportion. Now you might think I'm going off at a tangent, but where what I'm saying pertains to this particular action figure is that it toes the line really well between delivering what most consider the classic Daredevil look, but done in a way that also reflects the forlorn darkness of the character. And it does that by the choice of coloured plastic, so it's less of the red of a clown's nose and closer to the deeper red of a bloodstain. Plus it's been subject to some shading in the deco, creating some variation in the tone and helping to define the muscularity of the sculpt, which is of course our old friend Bucky Cap from a few years back and has since multiplied in Marvel Legends quicker than Jamie Madrox. The boots, gloves, belt, leg holster, chest symbol and eyes are all of a more vibrant red colour, yet as we compare it to the Marvel Legends Face-Off Daredevil by Toy Biz, this one being the unmasked variant, and we can see it's an inverse of those colours, so that Hasbro's new one is predominantly darker, whereas Toy Biz's older one is predominantly brighter, and I think that inversion creates an atmosphere better suited to the broody nature of the character. Here he is side by side with the movie Daredevil action figure, Ben Batman Affleck himself, from the third series of Toy Biz's Marvel Legends, a figure that wasn't even particularly good back then and fares worse with age. Even with a TV show on the way though, it might just end up being the only live action interpretation in figure form that we see, as it seems like Netflix's corner of the MCU is going to be a lot grittier and more adult than we get on the more family friendly big screen, so I wouldn't be banking on a glut of toys from that TV show. Now taking an even closer look, and the figure benefits from a really decent head sculpt. The stern expression with the brow furrowed, making the eyes of the mask deeper set. If you're on the wrong side of crime, it's certainly not the face you'd want to see emerging out of the shadows on the streets of Hell's Kitchen. For an accessory, he comes with his signature weapon, his billy club, and as you may have seen at the top of this video, it's packaged very warped, so the accessory comes in two parts, batons for battling, and if you think the plastic of Marvel Legends have got soft of late, well this accessory takes that to a new level. It's so soft and gummy that it seems less made by Hasbro and more by Haribo. I mean seriously, to see this kind of flexibility you usually have to buy a ticket to Cirque du Soleil. It can also be combined into more of a staff, but it's not really long enough to act as a blind man's cane, which is what he disguises this weapon as when he is in his regular civilian garb. His right hand is a trigger finger hand made for holding a gun, yet the baton fits better in that one than it does his left hand, the gumminess of the baton making it a little tricky to work it into that hand. Fortunately, securing these batons in into his leg holster takes a lot less massaging. Now in the comic, the cane often separates, unfurling a cable connecting the two parts, which is more what we have got with other Daredevil figures such as the Face-Off's more nunchuck style accessory. When it comes to posing, a fringe benefit of the Bucky Cap mold is that the hole that accommodated storage of the shield on that figure's back can also accommodate an old school Toy Biz flight display stand. So if you have one of those, it'll come in handy for capturing this Daredevil in all those kicking and leaping poses. So while on the subject of posing, what better time to look at the articulation? Their head rotates side to side. It's also able to look up a real decent amount and able to look down so his chin touches his chest. The arm moves up this far. It also rotates at the shoulder. Then there's a double jointed elbow and then rotation at the wrist, and this is also hinged, moving down and up. Has an ab crunch which moves pretty far forward, only really moves the tiniest bit back. There's waist rotation, and then at the hips the legs move out to the side this far. They move pretty far forward, and then they move this far back. There's upper leg rotation, double jointed knee, then there's rotation at the top of the boot, and at the ankle this is hinged, moving backwards and forwards, and it also has that crazy ankle rocker pivot that I love. And taking advantage of that ankle pivot, this is the action figure standing at its widest stance possible, still with both feet flat on the floor. So all things considered, and I'd recommend this new Daredevil as the definitive version of the character. Sure, there are better articulated and better accessorized ones, but this one in my opinion has enough pros to counter those cons. Plus this is going to be one per case, and with the Daredevil TV show reaching a wide audience on Netflix in April, it's an action figure you might want to jump on sooner rather than later. For a closer look at the Spider-Man from this series, click the video on the right, and if you're a fan of Daredevil or Haribo, then give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.